Okay, great. So just a couple of housekeeping items. If you just wanted to keep yourselves on mute as the presentation's going on, and then you could feel free to unmute yourself, ask any questions, or you could use a text chat and I will watch that and bring those questions to David. So anyways, I just wanted to welcome back. We've had David speak many of times before, and we're always really appreciative of him wanting to present because every time he comes, there are such great informative topics. Today, we're going to be talking about your confidence. And so I just wanted to introduce David Cohen from the David Cohen Group.
Thanks so
Welcome,
much.
David.
Thanks so much, Lori. Good to see you. Happy, beautiful day in November. I don't know where you are at, but it's really sun's out and it's mild.
Yeah, it's like that here.
I know. So it's like, yeah, if it could only last. So yeah, welcome, Camille. I just wanted to say hi to Celia, Deverati, Jennifer, Shoko, and Laura. So welcome all of you. I'm just going to get my PowerPoint ready. It's about confidence. It's about more than that actually today, in the time we have. Here we go. Okay. Everybody ready to get started? Okay, let's go. It takes confidence. Yes, it does. In being in business, you just heard, what I heard, it does take confidence. It takes confidence to be you. And the one thing about being in business is that's different, maybe, or a distinction between working for somebody and being in your own business is when you work for somebody, you can kind of hide out. You know what I mean? Like other people take the lead roles or the responsibilities. You could just kind of do your thing quietly and work, check in the morning and check out in the evening and go home, and that's it, right? But when you're self-employed, and you know this already, it's you. You're front and center, like whether you like it or not. And so you have to have that confidence to be willing to accept that responsibility. For me, it's really about leadership. Are you ready to lead? And we need leaders. We need good leaders right now, for sure, especially in business and in government and just in every area. So welcome to today's session. I'm so happy to be back with Paro today. I think last time I was here, Laura, it might have been like last maybe March or April. So it's really nice to be back, and I trust everybody is well and had a really beautiful summer, and the fall so far has been really nice too. So what is confidence? That's what we're talking about today. The Cambridge Dictionary writes this: it's the quality of being certain of your abilities or having trust in people, plans, or the future. I have confidence that they're going to be able to, do well in the job, right? As it says below. Or confidence is also about having that infinitive trust and faith. Or like, oh, I forgot an H in she. She has the confidence to walk into a room of strangers and immediately start a conversation. So that's confidence too. Or on the flip side, she's completely lacking confidence, right? Or I have confidence that she'll do really well in the job and she'll succeed, right? So confidence is really about your ability to believe in your abilities and have trust in your abilities, but also have trust in other people's ability. Do we have access to breakouts? So we don't, but let's maybe just have an open discussion. And what is your definition of confidence? Or better yet, what comes to mind when you think about confidence? Let's just maybe have a little bit of open discussion. Unmute yourself and maybe open up your camera, if you have confidence in sharing what you look like. But let's talk about it. Like, what's your view on confidence? What comes to mind? Yeah, Camille.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, beautifully.
I think confidence is being authentic.
Yeah, being authentic. So do you want to dig a little deeper into that? What does that, you know, when being authentic, what does that involve and mean?
I guess it means to me being comfortable in being authentic and being who you really are and being able to express that.
Yes. Yeah. I'm glad I asked you that. And I think that's confidence as well. It's being comfortable with who you are and being able to and confident about expressing and being who you are, not pretending, right? And sometimes we have to pretend a little bit, but you know, just being, you know, sure in yourself, right? Thanks, Camille. That's beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else want to add to it? Yeah, Shoko or Shoku.
Yes, thank you. So for me, confidence is having no fear of others' judgment, how they judge you, about what you say or what you do. Yeah, that is confidence for me.
Yeah, I agree. And you're right. Like, you know, because when somebody criticizes you, Shoku, like that can kind of it can be upsetting and it can throw you off your game. And so if you kind of go, okay, that's their feeling or belief or whatever, then so be it. I'm going to continue on, or I'll take maybe some of what they offered or shared and incorporate it into my beingness kind of thing. And I'm going to still move on. Right. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, thanks. That's great. Also, confidence is having the you know, doing what you just did, unmuting yourself with kids in the background. So way to go.
Exactly. And English is my second language. So sometimes I used to be silent in most of the meetings, but I decided to overcome that vulnerability and participate in the discussions.
Oh, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Who else has a comment or feeling or wants to add to the conversation? More confidence, what comes up for you? Nobody else? Okay. Let's move on. So we didn't have the confidence to do that. You can write in the chat, by the way. I do read the chats. So that was our, you know, what we're going to share after the breakout rooms. But let's but we didn't do the breakout rooms. We had an open discussion. Just, you know, be aware of confidence and be aware of what was said here today. You know, be willing to risk, be willing to be you, be willing to be vulnerable, be willing to be authentic, as Camille said, and be, you know, be willing to risk, like Shoku said. You know, English isn't her first language. You know, her kids are in the background, right? But you know what? So what? That's who she is. This is the joy. This is what she's bringing. You know, her kids make her who she is. Probably her, you know, you probably, Shoka, you probably learn more about being in business from being a mom, you know, than you do from taking these classes, you know? So, yeah, that's another element to it. So, and before we wrap up this, any other comments or questions about confidence? No, we're all good. Nothing in the chat. Okay. So let's move on. And I'm going to share a video. It's not that long, and it's a little bit about, you know, confidence, this thing about confidence. It's about 4 minutes. So let's have a watch. Turn up your speakers, and here goes. It's a TEDx talk. It's a mini talk.
When faced with a big challenge where potential failure seems to lurk at every corner, maybe you've heard this advice before. Be more confident. And most likely, this is what you think when you hear it. If only it were that simple. But what is confidence? Take the belief that you are valuable, worthwhile, and capable, also known as self-esteem. Add in the optimism that comes when you are certain of your abilities. And then empowered by these, act courageously to face a challenge head on. This is confidence. It turns thoughts into action. So where does confidence even come from? There are several factors that impact confidence. 1, what you're born with, such as your genes, which will impact things like the balance of neurochemicals in your brain. 2, how you're treated. This includes the social pressures of your environment. And 3, the part you have control over, the choices you make, the risks you take, and how you think about and respond to challenges and setbacks. It isn't possible to completely untangle these 3 factors, but the personal choices we make certainly play a major role in confidence development. So, by keeping in mind a few practical tips, we do actually have the power to cultivate our own confidence. Tip 1, a quick fix. There are a few tricks that can give you an immediate confidence boost in the short term. Picture your success when you're beginning a difficult task. Something as simple as listening to music with deep bass. It can promote feelings of power. You can even strike a powerful pose or give yourself a pep talk. Tip 2, believe in your ability to improve. If you're looking for a long-term change, consider the way you think about your abilities and talents. Do you think they are fixed at birth or that they can be developed, like a muscle? These beliefs matter because they can influence how you act when you're faced with setbacks. If you have a fixed mindset, meaning that you think your talents are locked in place, you might give up, assuming you've discovered something you're not very good at. But if you have a growth mindset and think your abilities can improve, a challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. Neuroscience supports the growth mindset. The connections in your brain do get stronger and grow with study and practice. It also turns out, on average, people who have a growth mindset are more successful, getting better grades, and doing better in the face of challenges. Tip 3, practice failure. Face it, you're going to fail sometimes. Everyone does. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 different publishers before one picked up Harry Potter. The Wright brothers built on history's failed attempts at flight, including some of their own, before designing a successful airplane. Studies show that those who fail regularly and keep trying anyway are better equipped to respond to challenges and setbacks in a constructive way. They learn how to try different strategies, ask others for advice, and persevere. So think of a challenge you want to take on. Realize it's not going to be easy. Accept that you'll make mistakes and be kind to yourself when you do. Give yourself a pep talk, stand up, and go for it. The excitement you'll feel knowing that whatever the result, you'll have gained greater knowledge and understanding. This is confidence.
There you go. Any comments or questions on that video?
Can I add one point here?
Please, yeah.
So I just gave a TEDx talk, and it was released 2 weeks ago, and it was exactly related to this, and I was shocked. It was about anti-fragility and resilience, and how failure sometimes makes us stronger, and how we can win in challenging times. Not just we can. Resilience is like withstanding hard times, but sometimes I didn't use the term confidence, and I use the term resilience instead. When we are resilient in challenging times, sometimes we can even grow higher and get more achievements.
Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing this. It was really inspiring.
And I'm glad you mentioned resiliency, because that's coming into my mind too as I'm teaching this today. And confidence and resiliency are definitely related. And you need to practice that resiliency muscle. I don't care who you think is big and famous and rich and all that stuff. They've all failed at something at one point in their life, right? We've all gone through, the past 2.5 years have been, about being resilient. We've gone through such tremendous change and challenges over the past 2.5 years, but here we are, we're still here. It's have confidence in yourself. You're still here. What's your, if you're still here, there's a reason. And what is that reason? Is it to explore your passion? Is it to share a gift? Is it to create something new? Is it to be a speaker at TEDx, in more TEDx events in the next year? What is it for you, right? So I like how you tied in resiliency, because it's all connected. And this growth mindset idea is also connected to resiliency as well. It's knowing that, I'm going through a difficult time right now. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to learn how to get through it. I'm going to talk to other people about how they got through it. I'm going to practice new things, take on new ideas, and I will get through it. So it's also about having that confidence to get through those tough times. So let's get confident. What is it about confidence? Well, first of all, to get confidence, you've got to really watch your beliefs. Beliefs are really the foundation of everything in this world, is really at the core of everything going on in the world. It's about beliefs, right? If you look at division between two people, it's because chances are one has one belief, the other has another, right? There's an election next week in the US, right? Well, one person believes in the Republican Party and the other person believes in the Democratic Party. So, beliefs, what are 2 to 3 limiting beliefs that have you say you can't? Anybody want to share? What's maybe 2 to 3 or one limiting belief that says you can't, that stops you from moving forward and having confidence? Anyone want to share a limiting belief that sort of plagues you, or
fear of failure?
Okay, says who? Right? You're not, obviously, but yeah, that's a big belief. Maybe we got that when we were kids, right? Maybe we failed a subject in class. Maybe the kids made fun of us because of that. Are you a failure? Is that 100%? How does that belief impact you for moving forward? It's a really important thing to think about. How do these beliefs, these limiting beliefs, impact you for moving forward? If the belief is you're a failure, or the belief is you're not good enough, or the belief is, who are you to think you could do this? Then you're not going to move forward. So my question next is, who would you be without those beliefs? So Shoku, if you weren't a failure, what would it look like? Who would you be?
If I fail, you mean, or if I don't have that belief?
You don't have that belief anymore. You're letting it go.
I would be like a lot more courageous in acting.
Yes, I love it. So you'd be more courageous. You would take chances. You would make things happen, right?
Exactly.
I love it. So these are really important things to look at. If you want to get confident, check in with those limiting beliefs. How do they impact you? Who would you be without it? What do you need, or who do you need to forgive so you can move forward with new beliefs? Maybe it was that teacher in grade 5, right? Who told you couldn't, or, kind of laughed a little bit when you brought in your big project that you were proud of, right? Yeah, who do you need to forgive? Do you need to forgive yourself, right? Who can you bring in to your life as an accountability partner? Somebody that can help you move forward. And you can bounce your ideas and your thoughts and your fears and your limiting beliefs off of them. And then they can say, yeah, but may I remind you, you're also this, right? And so that you can have that help moving forward. Everybody that's successful has a partner, has an accountability partner, or a success team, or a mastermind team around them to help them move forward. And if you think about it, even if you go to the biblical times, Moses had his brother Aaron, right? Moses said, I can't talk. I have a speech impediment. So Aaron did the talking, right? The Wright brothers, a baseball player has a coach or an agent to help him with the, get paid big bucks, right? All the professionals have a coach. Like if you're a golfer or you're a dancer or you're a tennis star, everybody has a coach. And then maybe you have a therapist as well, like to help you with the physical aspect. So, for us as entrepreneurs, maybe have an accountability partner or bring in and form a mastermind team that you can connect with to help you move through some of these limiting beliefs and blocks. And then how do you feel when you can break through a limiting belief and succeed? Has anybody ever experienced this? And if so, how did you feel and what happened? Again, use the chat, please. Like, don't be shy. You get more when we share. Has anybody had a break where you had to break through a limiting belief? And you yeah, Camille.
I'm what would be considered a perfectionist. And I'm not good at technology, so I was never on Facebook, and I was launching a business, and I was afraid to post. I was afraid to put myself out there because I had no idea what I was doing, and I just decided to go for it. I decided to put my perfectionism aside and go for it. And I'm still okay. I'm okay. I made it. It was hard, and I had the shakes and cold sweats, and I was so afraid to put myself out there, and I did it, and I'm okay. I survived.
And did you get likes and comments, or were you like been at it for years and I get no likes and no comments?
I even got a couple of likes and a couple of comments. Yeah.
Awesome. It all changes when you put pictures of kittens and babies, okay? You think I'm joking? I'm serious. You watch, try it. Way to go, Camille. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, keep posting, and putting good stuff out there, right? So in terms of gaining confidence, this is a good place to start. This is what you want to start to think and shift. But there's 7 key factors, and I mentioned one already. So what shapes confidence? It is our beliefs, right? It's our belief about ourselves. It's our belief about a thing. It's our belief about a philosophy. It could be a religious belief, right? It could be societal beliefs, right? So we really want to check our beliefs and double check to see if our beliefs need shifting, right? Once you shift a belief, anything can be possible. The other key factor is we have a fear of failure or a fear of success. Like, what if I fail? Camille, you probably went through that before posting. What if it doesn't work? Or what if people laugh at me? And it's pretty doubtful they will do that. And if they do, well, so be it, right? You learn from that and you develop your resiliency muscle, as Shoku was alluding to before. And you keep on going and you say, okay, what did I learn? I'm going to continue on, right? I'll make the change. And next time I won't do that, right? Another factor that prevents us from being confident is the fear of embarrassment, shame, guilt, things like that. Those are really tough emotions and they don't serve us. Shame doesn't serve anybody. You have to go back maybe in time and remember when you did experience shame and make friends with that and let it go, because the past, little you, when you were 10 is not you at 30 or 40, right? You're very different. You've learned more, you've experienced more, you have new ideas, new insights, you've probably gone to school somewhere, right? So let that go. Doubts are doubts about something. Oh, I didn't know if I could do this. I doubted myself. You know, you can either be in doubt or you can, you know, suck it up and go, I'm going for it. I'm going to do this. Right. So watch your doubts. And the other thing I have here as a factor in confidence is the news. Limit the, there's a really good thinker and author and philosopher. He passed away, I guess, in the 70s. And his name is Neville Goddard. He would be on par with a Napoleon Hill a little bit, or oh, what was the other guy's name? Oh my God, can't remember his name, but another sort of, you know, success thinker like that.
Bob Proctor?
Well, no, Wallace Wattles, but good, yeah, Bob Proctor too. So Neville Goddard came up with the term, sometimes we got to put ourselves on a mental diet, and a mental diet, it would consist of not watching the news so much, and even, you know, really being mindful of what we're putting into our heads about life and ourselves. Okay. And then our physiology. So that's another factor. If we're not active or getting our vitamin D and our sunshine and going for a walk and doing something physical and getting vitamin D every day, the natural stuff like the sun for 10 minutes a day, that affects us as well, and it affects our confidence. So let's dive a little deeper into these 7 deciding factors or contributing factors, rather, around our confidence. So as mentioned, every decision that we make starts with a belief, right? Our business idea. I believe there needs to be another restaurant in this town, right? Or, and I believe there's not enough vegan options. Maybe that's your belief, right? So your business idea or anything we do, every decision we make usually starts with some form of a belief, and we base our decisions on what we know to be true or what we believe. And as Linda Henman writes, sometimes, however, we believe something that isn't true, right? So both intellectual and emotional beliefs influence our behavior when facts and reason alone don't. So how do we develop our beliefs? Well, we develop them in our early relationships, what we're told, what we grew up with, right? You know, what other people believed. They had imposed their beliefs on us, and we go, oh my God, must be true, right? Experiences that we've had over time and over our life, events that we had to go through or experience. Situations create and influence our belief systems as well. However, though, when we fail to examine our beliefs and bring them to the conscious level, we run the risk that we'll always continue to base decisions on false or inaccurate inputs. And if you think back to when you were a kid and maybe you had a belief in something, you know, as a child, if you were to go back and talk to that inner child, you'd probably say, you know what, that belief, you can let go of it now because it's not true. Because as your adult self, you've experienced more, you've been exposed to more. So, you know, you want to let go of those beliefs that are limiting you that you gained when you were younger, because your older self, you know, has seen more and realized more and learned more and knows more. So what can you do to disrupt your belief system? Any ideas? What can you do to disrupt your belief system? Okay, good. We got a comment in the chat. Meditate. Excellent, Devarati, sorry. Excellent. Yeah, what can you do? Meditate is great. Right?
You can educate yourself.
Yes, Celia, beautiful. Educate yourself. Right? So yeah, really, really good ideas there. Educate, meditate, visualize, see something different, right? So one is we got to quiet them. So name it, name that limiting belief and become friends with the negative ones, right? And ask yourself, is this true? Are you sure it's true? How do you feel when you believe that thought? And then who would you be without it? Who would you be without it? I'm just going to go to the chat. Sean says, examine where that feeling comes from. Is it perception or is it a reality? Yeah. Wow, Sean. And good to see you, Sean. So watch the beliefs and ask these critical questions, name it. I remember early in my business career, I was starting a very new, very big, bold project, right? And this is back in the early 2000s. And I was making cold calls, prospecting calls. And I got, oh my God, I got rejected 120 times because I made 125 prospecting calls to get this project going. And I got rejected 120 times. And it was one time where my inner belief came up, my inner critic, and said, see, I told you what you're doing isn't for you. You should have been a doctor, right? Something like that. And I laughed and I named my belief, like who it was. And then I asked, well, is that true? Should I have been a doctor? Can't stand the sight of blood. The operations they do on these medical channels. It's like, what? Right? Am I sure that's true? How do I feel when I believe that thought that what I was doing wasn't for me? I actually felt sad. Like, I love doing what I'm doing. Just because it's not working out maybe the way I'd like it to, right at that moment, and had a client hang up on me. Well, that wasn't a lot of fun. But who would I be without that thought? Well, I'd be somebody who's empowered, like Shoku said, empowered to move on and make that next call. And sure enough, that next call turned into a client. So watch your beliefs and quiet them. Take on new habits, 21 days to make or break a habit. Do a 360 with those close to you. What that means is talk to people close to you and ask them what they think your strengths and weaknesses are, and then decide to work on both of them. Replace the negative belief with an affirmation. I don't know if anybody here, when you meditate, and that was a beautiful answer. Do you do affirmations? I am successful. My body is beautiful, or I am, able to make this happen. I am going to do a great job at my next TEDx talk. Do you do affirmations like that? And remember, you're not your past. You've grown, you've learned new things, you've matured, you have different interests, friends, and joys, right? So you're not your past. Don't let your past, prevent you from living powerfully in the present, right? Any comments, questions? Yeah, so some really good answers, by the way. And Devarati, thanks for bringing up the idea of meditation, and Celia, you had a comment too, so that was really good. And Sean as well. So failure, that's the second factor that determines our confidence. So whenever you're afraid of something or afraid of failing, I like to suggest that you look at it and you go, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen if you fail? So pick one thing that you're afraid to do and see if you can identify the worst thing that might happen if you fail. Like do this now so we can hear what it is and how you can get past it. What's one thing you're afraid to do? And what's the worst thing that might happen if you fail? When you have the answer, please share it in the chat or speak up, unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi, Camille, yeah.
I really would love to start a YouTube channel, and I'm really, really scared to do it. I have all kinds of ideas, but I'm just afraid, and I think it's the perfectionism that's playing with my mind, and the ego mind that's playing tricks on me. So I intend on watching Shoku's video. I really, really would love to be able to get past that fear.
Okay, so what if you didn't have to be perfect?
It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't have to be perfect, would you move forward?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
What if all it needed was your creativity, your ideas, maybe guests and people to come along with you on the journey? Would that help you?
Yeah, it probably would. That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah. Create it the way you want. It's
Yeah,
your YouTube channel, you can do what you want.
love it.
Yeah. Excellent.
Coming soon. Stay tuned.
Okay, yeah. I'm just going to go to the chat. Sean says, I'm hesitant to put herself out there on social media. Perfectionism and ridicule are holding her back. I have to remember it's a business that I'm putting forward, not me. Well, you're the business, but that's okay. And there is no perfect. So Camille, that thing I mentioned before about on the previous screen about those calls was back in 2002 when I started a weekly radio show for small business. And I only had a concept and an idea, and I needed to get advertising support for it because the way it worked with the radio station is I had to buy the airtime, and then I needed to resell it, right? And I really was determined to get it going, but man, it was tough because I only had a concept. People said, well, do you have your show? Can I listen to it? I went, no, not right now. And I just did it anyway. It's like, who cares? Like, and then I would have guests on, Camille, and this is why I'm bringing up perfectionism. And people thought like guests had to, oh, can I have the questions beforehand? Can I know what we're going to do? And I said, relax, don't worry. Like, follow me. Let's just have a conversation like we're in the studio, having a coffee, and we're just enjoying each other's company. And if you forget to say something, you forget. No big deal. That means you have to come back, right? So, and then they felt at ease, and they didn't have to know all the questions. We just had to be there together like we were at Starbucks having a coffee, but there were 2 mics in front of us, right? So it was like the best interviews were the ones that came from here. So if you come from here with your YouTube channel, from your heart, you're gonna nail it. If you come from being authentic, you're gonna nail it. And believe me, I had moments on that show where like it was very guest centric. No guests, like, now what? I had a few times where guests didn't show because it was 9 a.m. on Sunday morning, and some people were out of our time zone, and it was earlier for them. So it's like, oh my God, right? So we just did the next best thing. Let's open the phones and we ask questions, and you just have to just trust that stuff's going to happen that you don't like, and that you'll muddle through somehow, and next week's a new week, right? Yeah. So I just wanted to share that. There's no perfect interview. The best interview is when it's natural and it comes from the heart. But be mindful of failure, walk through what's the worst thing that can happen. The worst thing is the guest doesn't show, and now what? I'm going to have to ask listeners to call in, right? Have you failed before and lived to tell someone else about it? Does that ever happen?
Yes, it's happened to me.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you lived, right? And you're
Yes,
okay.
yes.
And
Definitely.
what happened?
So my background, I'm a lawyer, and I was always a top student, always, and a perfectionist, a pure perfectionist. And unfortunately, I had many like A's and A pluses, but unfortunately, I failed the bar exam. And it was the end of the world at that time for me. So I wanted to quit law. I didn't want to work as a lawyer anymore. And it was my the second jurisdiction I wanted to become a lawyer in Canada, because I was a lawyer before in my home country in Iran, and I wanted to become a lawyer here in Canada. And I took that challenge with 2 little kids, which you just heard one of them. So it was a very hard time during the pandemic. I passed all the exams except the final one, and I failed. It was a very sad moment because I tried very hard. And it was then when I decided I came up with the idea of resilience and anti-fragility, and my TEDx talk came almost out of that. So I passed the bar exam. I became a lawyer two weeks ago. I became, thank you. And so yes, that failure was very tough. I had very, very tough moments when I saw the failure report. But as I said, not just resilience, but anti-fragility. This is a concept I read a book by Nassim Taleb. He introduced this concept. And when you're fragile and you're perfectionist, you quit as soon as you face a challenge. But anti-fragility is something when you face a challenge, you not just withstand, but you go higher. So I told myself, I will pass the bar exam and I will give a TEDx talk, and what else? I don't know what will happen next, but this was my story with failure. It's not easy when you fail. It's easier said than done, you know. It's something that when you are in that situation, it's very hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my experience.
Wow, you got through it, and look what happened. You learned that about your failure, that it's not the end, it's just maybe at the beginning of something else. And Shoku, look what you did. I like this. This is a colleague of mine, very oh my God, forgetting his last name. But he said, you want to turn your mess into your bless. Turn your mess into your bless. So that means whatever you failed at, there's a lesson here that now you can teach others. And you went ahead and did that in your TED Talk, didn't you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and now you have another career.
Yeah,
only
exactly.
a lawyer.
Grateful for that.
Yeah, I am too.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. So turn your mess into your bless, turn your failure. There's an opportunity, there's a learning lesson that you can help other people with. And a lot of businesses start that way. Hey, I went through this, I figured it out. Now I can tell you how to do it, right? That's how a lot of businesses start. Devarati writes, congratulations in the chat. And on behalf of everybody, way to go. The other factor that gets in the way of having confidence is shame and embarrassment. And that's what Shoku, that's what you experience, right? And I quote just Brene Brown on this. She wrote, several books on this topic and speaks on it. And we have a little video at the end with her. But shame is the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we're flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. So can you imagine, because you didn't pass the law exam right away, that you don't belong, you're flawed, and you're not good enough? It's like, BS to that, right? You are good enough. Just because you didn't do one thing doesn't mean you can't do a whole series of other things. You've got 2 kids, you raised 2 kids. That takes a ton of skills, right? Negotiating in the morning. Come on, get ready for school, right? You got to negotiate. Okay, get dressed. Okay, and then you're leading, right? So we're more than that one experience. We can pick ourselves up, get back up, and keep on going and learn from it, right? So own it. It's okay, Brene Brown writes. So she talks about this notion of around shame and guilt and embarrassment, to own it, name it, understand our shame triggers. What is it that's about, right? What is it that causes us shame? Identify maybe the external factors that led to feelings of shame. Maybe your kids, would make fun of you when you were younger or something, that, hey, you're not that smart or whatever, right? Or a parent or a grandparent might have called us out on it, right? Connect with others to receive and offer empathy. Talk to that accountability partner. Hey, what would you do? Has this happened to you, right? How do you handle it? Or speak to other lawyers or whatever and talk to them about, hey, what happened when you maybe didn't pass the bar exam? How did you get over that, right? There's chances are there's somebody that's gone through exactly what you've gone through in your life, and they've lived to tell, and now they're helping other people get through it, right? And then speak about your feelings of shame with others. When we're open and we're vulnerable about who we are, other people have compassion. And so it's actually, when you're really authentic and you tell your story to other people, and this is part of your story, the right customers will want to work with you as well when you're authentic and real, right? I want to, if I saw you speak, Shoku, I'd want to maybe work with you, or hire you or interview you. Why? Because you're being real. I came to Canada, I had it. I didn't pass, not once, but twice. I had intense feelings of guilt and shame, but I got over it and I passed and I finally made it. And not only that, I'm now speaking about it. Like that to me is real. And that's what customers want, right? So when you speak your truth and you share your vulnerability, miracles happen. People want to work with you. You get a ton of comments and likes on your social media posts, Camille. The right help comes along. You also give permission to others to be okay with what is in their own life. It's a huge gift you're giving. When you share your truth, your vulnerability, your supposed weakness, you give others an opportunity to be okay with what's inside them. And that's a beautiful gift that you can give. By hiding out and not having confidence to move forward and share who you are with the world, you're denying somebody else of having that for themselves, that gift. Remember too, there's always time to turn it around and move ahead, right? Maybe the, not passing a course in school is maybe that's not the career for you, right? Or I didn't get the job, or I got turned down. Maybe that's not it. Maybe a better, something better awaits, right? So don't just tuck it under the rug. Learn from it. You can still move ahead. You can learn from your experiences, right? And help others avoid what you went through. And always remember, whatever you go through now, in 5 years' time, it won't matter. 5 years from now, think of it. It won't matter. You'll have forgotten it. You'll learn from it. You'll have, absorbed the lesson, and you probably would have turned it around by now, right? In 5 years. Jennifer writes, can I get a copy of this? Yes, Jennifer, by all means. So, yeah. All right. And thank you, Jennifer, for being here today. So the other element of those 7 factors that, sort of go into being confident is dealing with doubt, right? I mean, like, is there ever a good time to move ahead on an idea, a project, calling a client, dealing with an upset client, or cold calling? These are things we don't really want to do, but we have to, right? If we're going to grow ourselves or move forward or get a new client and get sales and make more money and be, help somebody else get what they want, then the time is now. Let go of the doubt. Just do it. So there's never, so the answer to, is there ever a good time to do all these things, is hell no. But we never feel like dealing with these. So you want to practice what author, speaker, former TV show host Mel Robbins writes about, and that is to do the 5-second rule. And the 5-second rule is really that you want to act on an idea, a project, calling a client, whatever it is for you, asking somebody on a date. You want to act rather than don't overthink it. The minute you overthink it, you won't do it. So the 5-second rule just simply states, you count down. You got an idea? Oh, I'm going to call my client on the phone today, right? You get the phone, you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pump in the number, and there you are, you're on the phone. Now, so the 5-second rules: count down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, act. It's like you can do this, like, let's say you get up in the morning and it's a little dark and cool, you don't feel like going on a walk. Well, you know what? Count down. You know the walk's going to be good for you. You know you're going to feel refreshed when you come back home. You know it's going to give you energy to carry you through the day. So you practice the 5-second rule. And then what do? You go, you get your sweats on, right? Put on your running shoes, count down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, out the door, go for your walk, come back, feel better, right? So don't overthink things, just do. And actions, by the way, turn into results, and results boost your confidence. I'm just going to go to the chat for a sec. There's a comment in there. Sean, yeah, I think Lori, you've got the PDF version of this PowerPoint, so by all means. So talking about Mel Robbins, I just want to play another video and where she talks about this sort of 5-second rule. This is kind of as it pertains to, awesome, Lori. And oh, I also sent a PDF copy of my book for everybody. It's a business book. So that's a gift from me to everybody today. So let's just hear what Mel Robbins has to say. Here she's being interviewed by the former publisher of Success Magazine. And she's talking to Darren Hardy, who's the former publisher, on pushing through and practicing the 5-second rule. And here goes Mel Robbins on pushing through. We're almost done. Here goes for today. But here.
So I love this quote from your book. Each time you push through, you're making a long-term investment in yourself. Talk to us about that for a minute, because this is the reward on the end of the other side of the line by doing the hard work of taking that action in the 5 seconds, going against what your brain is telling you. So talk to us about the long-term benefits of all this.
You got it. Because the one takeaway, Darren, from all the research that I've done and all the science that's in the book is that if you want to change anything about your life, just do the things that you don't feel like doing. It really does boil down to that. You're never going to feel like doing the things you need to do to have what you want. Your mind isn't wired that way. It will try to make you feel like things are too big. It'll try to make you feel like things are too scary. It'll try to make you feel like now's not the time. And so if you push through those feelings and take action, even though you don't feel like it, you'll have everything. The compound effect that you write about, Darren, will start to take hold. This whole book is about tricking people into how to take action. That's what this is about. And so, the thing about that rule that's very important, Darren, is that over time, you've built a muscle to not listen to yourself. You've built the muscle of taking anti-actions, actions like surfing the web instead of making cold calls, actions like watching TV instead of doing research, actions like sitting around and putting stuff in your Twitter account that's nonsense instead of getting your butt out the door and going off and networking with people that might potentially help you with the business you want to launch. You've filled your schedule with so much stuff that isn't important that it's squeezed all the time out of your schedule. So now you have a convenient excuse of not doing anything, and the excuse of that you don't have any time. And so I think it's really important that what you realize about your life is that you're never going to feel like it. And if you start to push forward and take action anyway, it's like any other muscle. Over time, you slowly start building the muscle of taking action. You start building the muscle of not listening to your own crud. You start building the muscle of ignoring what your mind is telling you and operating from your desires instead of your fears. You start building the muscle of acting strategically instead of acting emotionally. And you can retrain your brain. Absolutely. After a month of waking up and not hitting the snooze alarm, do you think it's going to be hard or easy? It's going to be easy. And the reason why is because by doing it every morning, you've made a long-term investment in yourself. You've built muscles that make you powerful and successful instead of maintaining the ones that keep you stuck.
So I love.
What do you think? Any comments on that?
I agree. I love Mel Robb. Yeah, I love her. She's great.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. So what can you do to overcome doubt? What are 3 actions you might be able to take to overcome doubt?
Not to overthink.
Yeah, not to overthink. Yes. Anything else?
I have to get out of my own way.
Yeah, get out of your own way. Let go of those limiting beliefs, right? Or perfectionism. What's one thing?
Taking action in 5-second increments.
Oh, yeah, taking action in the 5-second. So giving yourself 5 seconds to act. That's great. I love it. Sean says 5-second rule in the chat. Excellent work, everyone. Woo. What's one thing you want to do in your business but are afraid to? And then what are 2 actions you're going to take to break through? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to go to the chat.
Ask for support.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I usually had this doubt or fear of not asking others for help because that could make me feel that I'm very weak or fragile. But I think I have to do that in order to start my business.
Yeah, look, if you, Shoko, if you really wanted to, let's say you had a big event to go to for your business, and it meant, you're going to be speaking to 1,500 women entrepreneurs, and yet you didn't have a babysitter for your kids. Would you ask somebody to babysit or pitch in?
I have to do it now.
Yeah.
I want to get through all the barriers in my mind, and so I have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Let go of those barriers and the thoughts and the limiting beliefs, and just do it.
Exactly.
Right? And yeah. So remember, if you do these actions, do you think you'd have more confidence, Shoku?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Because when you have confidence, you can ask others, and that again raise your confidence in other areas like speaking in public, or the small steps help you boost your confidence, as you said in your slide.
Yeah. There's a great book I recommend you all get. It's called Who Not How by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. And it came out in August 2020. And the concept of the book is, as entrepreneurs, we often feel we have to do it all on our own, right? And so we're asking the wrong question. As entrepreneurs, we go, how am I going to get this done, right? And then it's too much. And then because it's too much work or too much on our plate or too many burdens, we don't act. But instead of asking, how am I going to get this done? Ask, who can I get to help me get this done? Who can I get to help me? And that's how companies grow and are built, because you're not doing everything. You're doing the things that bring you joy and passion where you're self-expressed and you're making money and you're happy. So do those things, and then bring in people that love doing the accounting. It's like, good, you do it. Or bring in people like, that like technology. Good, great, you figure out my website. I don't have time, right? So you want to just be mindful of that it's not weakness to get help. It's actually really smart business. And the book is called Who Not How. I will, Deborah, I'll just write it in now, okay? Who Not How. And there's a really good video on YouTube with them by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Okay, it's in the chat. All right, let's just wrap up and move forward. So the other critical piece to confidence is stop watching the news. Just because they say so doesn't mean it'll happen to you, right? And they're saying, well, there's a recession coming. Well, I'm not buying into it. Harry Dent, speaker, author from a few years ago, wrote, I once read that more millionaires per capita were created during the Great Depression than at any other time in history. I'd take that possibility for yourself. Take that possibility. Don't listen to the news. Turn it off. If it's important, you'll find out about it. The last thing is watch your physiology. Your physiology affects your psychology, okay? So we're going to just show a really quick 3-minute video, and then we'll wrap up for today, and I'll take some questions too. So here's a little video for us to watch and think about and ponder, and let's go to it.
So I want to start by offering you a free...
Oh, by the way, this is Amy Cuddy. She talks about the power pose, and that by changing your physiology, you can change your psychology. And she's written books about it and has a few TEDx talks. This is a mini version of her talk on the topic. So Amy Cuddy and on the power pose.
No tech life hack, and all it requires of you is this, that you change your posture for 2 minutes. I became especially interested in nonverbal expressions of power and dominance. And what are nonverbal expressions of power and dominance? Well, so in the animal kingdom, they are about expanding. So you make yourself big, you stretch out, and humans do the same thing. So they do this both when they have power sort of chronically, and also when they're feeling powerful in the moment. So powerful people tend to be, not surprisingly, more assertive and more confident. Physiologically, there also are differences on 2 key hormones, testosterone, which is the dominance hormone, and cortisol, which is the stress hormone. We decided to bring people into the lab and run a little experiment. And these people adopted for 2 minutes high power poses or low power poses. And I'm just going to show you 5 of the poses, although they took on only 2. This is what happens. They come in, they spit into a vial. We, for 2 minutes, say, you need to do this or this. We then ask them, how powerful do you feel on a series of items? And then we take another saliva sample. Here's what we find on testosterone. From their baseline when they come in, high power people experience about a 20% increase, and low power people experience about a 10% decrease. Here's what you get on cortisol. High power people experience about a 25% decrease, and the low power people experience about a 15% increase. So 2 minutes lead to these hormonal changes that configure your brain to basically be either assertive, confident, and comfortable, or really stress reactive. But the next question, of course, is, can power posing for a few minutes really change your life in meaningful ways? And so what matters and where you want to use this is evaluative situations. We decided that the one that most people could relate to was the job interview. What do you do before you go into a job interview? You do this, right? You're sitting down, you're looking at your notes, you're hunching up, making yourself small, when really what you should be doing maybe is this, like in the bathroom. Okay, so we bring people into a lab and they do either high or low power poses again. They go through a very stressful job interview. It's 5 minutes long. They are being recorded. They're being judged also. We then have these coders look at these tapes, 4 of them. They're blind to the hypothesis, they're blind to the conditions. They have no idea who's been posing in what pose. They end up looking at these sets of tapes and they say, oh, we want to hire these people, all the high power posers. We don't want to hire these people. But what's driving it? It's not about the content of the speech. It's about the presence that they're bringing to the speech. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. Tiny tweaks can lead to big changes. Before you go into the next stressful evaluative situation, for 2 minutes, try doing this in the elevator, in a bathroom stall, at your desk behind closed doors. That's what you want to do. Configure your brain to cope the best in that situation. Get your testosterone up, get your cortisol down, and it can significantly change the outcomes of their life. Thank you.
So the power pose, you know, Wonder Woman, and she's standing like this, right? And she's got her arms by her hips, and that's a power pose. Tony Robbins talks about before an interview or before you go into a meeting with a customer, before you make your cold calls to prospective businesses, he suggests that you stand up and you clap and you go, yes, 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 right? And when she says it improves your testosterone, it puts you in a different physical state. So if you can change your physiology, you can change your psychology. I studied improv last year, and by studying improv, you can take on different personalities when you're doing acts or skits. And you can, and we talk in improv about low or high, right? So you can be sort of a high level person, like the boss. Well, I'm the boss around here, Jenkins. And then you could be the low, you could be Jenkins, right? The low level. Yeah, I know, boss. You're the boss. I'm just the employee. And then in the middle, we ask the people to switch. So now Jenkins is more powerful than the boss, and the boss is, you know, kind of weaker, lower level. So you could just do that by yourself. So think, like, what are 3 things you can do to change your physiology when you really need to? If you're just home working on your computer, you don't need to. But if you're engaging with people, or you're about to make calls, or you're about to network, or you're about to present, what can you do to shake what your mama gave you? As I like to say, right? What are 3 things you could do to change your physiology? It's really going to be important. Any comments? And then we'll wrap up. Any ideas on what you could do to change your physiology? You can clap, yes, yes, yes. You could do a power pose in the mirror. Better yet, you could do mirror work and do the power pose and tell yourself, I love you, you're the best, right?
Deep breathing.
Yeah, deep breathing. Let it go.
Fixing the posture is standing up straight, I find.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can slouch over. That's me after a long day at work on my business. Yes, great answers.
Maybe it's a little bit like the mirror work, but I think through a lot of what I'm hearing and what I'm maybe hearing in myself is, I think we're really good at giving answers to everybody else, but and good objective answers, but our own opinion is clouded. So maybe that's a bit of mirror talk.
Yeah, I love it, Sean. Thanks. Thanks. All right. That's it for today. What did you learn? What did you walk away with today? Did you learn anything?
The session was a magic.
Yeah, Shoku.
It was really, for me, it was. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anybody else get something from today?
And just before you look, can you share your contacts on LinkedIn or any other social?
Right here. I could go to LinkedIn real quick. And I just have to bear with me here, okay, Shoku? I am on LinkedIn. Okay, I'll just share it. There we go. That's me on LinkedIn. Okay, so please add me if you want, and stay connected. And Again, I just want to really thank Lori and all of you for great, great contribution and for the learning today. I hope it helped, and I wish you much success and goodness, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the week. Any
Yeah, I
other
just wanted
questions?
to say thank you so much, David. This was really great. Really appreciate you coming in and talking to us about this. I think we all needed a confidence booster, yes, for sure. But thank you so much, and would love to have you back again. So we'll plan for that. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We really appreciate
Thank
having you all here. And just as a quick reminder, I just wanted to say, if you wanted to check out our page where I'm speaking at the posters there, the save the date poster for November 24th, the early bird ends in 2 or 3 days. But anyways, we're having our event. It's virtual. If you're not traveling to Thunder Bay, it's in person. Anyways, check out, we have great speakers, we have great workshops, we have a great day plan. So if you're able to join us, we'd love to have you there. Anyways, thanks again, everybody. And thanks again, David, appreciate you coming in today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Lori. And everybody make a wish, because it's 1:11. Well, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a wish. Have a beautiful day, everyone.
You
Thanks.
too.
Thanks.